Hello and welcome to Act 1, Scene 3 of Julius Caesar. And this is an important scene. It's also slightly tricky. So what I will do is I will do it in three smaller parts. So that's easier for you to kind of understand it, to digest it, because Julius Caesar is now getting into the more complex part of the play. Okay, so we'll do it in three parts so that it doesn't look like, one longish 1 hour plus long video explanation. So if it's shorter, psychologically, you'll feel a little better. Okay, in 15-20 minutes, I can get past this part of the scene. So we've already seen what happened in scene 2, especially the part between Cassius and Brutus. Okay, now Cassius is really the big manipulator as far as Julius Caesar is concerned. He's kind of trying to enlist the support of many other senators, many other nobles in his plot to overthrow Julius Caesar, or at least to ensure that Julius Caesar does not become the most powerful man in Rome. Okay, so कहानी ये है. Okay, अभी कहानी के अगले एपिसोड की तरफ चलते हैं. So scene 3, this is taking place on a street in Rome. It's accompanied by thunder and lightning, and if you see many plays of Shakespeare, thunder and lightning is always associated with something negative which is about to happen. You would see this in Macbeth. In fact, these days I am kind of working on both Julius Caesar and Macbeth, and I realize that Shakespeare essentially uses the same kind of elements in most of his plays. Okay, he basically rehashes quite a bit of the elements in different plays. So Macbeth is also pretty similar, where also it is associated with a lot of thunder and lightning as ill omens. So thunder and lightning, and enter from opposite side Casca, who we met briefly in Act 1, Scene 2, then with his sword drawn, and Cicero. Now Cicero is another one of the prominent senators as far as Rome is concerned. Cicero says, "Good evening, Casca. Brought you Caesar home? Why are you breathless, and why stare you so?" So immediately you get an idea that Casca is not looking very normal. He's kind of breathless. He's panting. So he's in a state of he's in a disturbed state. He's not calm the way normal human beings would be. So Cicero, the senator, asks Casca that did you escort, did you kind of bring Caesar home? Why are you breathless, and why are you looking around like that? Because he's looking here and there. So he's obviously a little paranoid about something happening, and that something is the thunder and lightning which is happening. Okay, Casca says, "Are you not moved when all the sway of earth shakes like a thing unfirm? O Cicero, I have seen tempests when the scolding winds have rived the knotty oak." So what is he saying is that, aren't you disturbed when the entire sway of earth shakes as if it is an unsteady thing? Unfirm means unsteady. Okay, almost as if there is an earthquake kind of thing happening, right? So the whole earth is shaking like a thing which is very unsteady. So aren't you getting moved? Moved means that aren't you getting disturbed? Aren't you getting worried? Okay, as a result of the sway of the earth, the earth is shaking as if it's an extremely, not a very fixed kind of an object. "Oh Cicero, I have seen tempests." Tempest means storms. I have seen extremely wild storms. Tempest is an extreme form of storm. Okay, so I've seen fierce storms when the gusty winds have ripped apart and split the oak trees. Okay, ripped means they have split open the knotty oaks, the oak trees. The oak tree is supposed to have a lot of knots around, so which makes it very difficult for it to be kind of broken or split. But when there are these kind of fierce storms, tempests, they have even managed to split the oak trees, right? So when the scolding winds, again, the scolding means, with the creating that kind of a noise, almost as if they are kind of scolding the earth, the atmosphere around there. Okay, so when the gusty winds have ripped apart and ripped the oak trees, the knotty oaks, and I have seen the ambitious ocean swell and rage and foam to be exalted with the threatening clouds. I have also seen the ambitious ocean. The ocean, why is it being referred to as ambitious because the ocean is large. It's almost as if it would want to cover the entire earth. So there is a sense of largeness associated with the ocean. There is a sense of that, yes, I want to kind of be large and big and cover most of the area. So there is a sense of ambition. What is it being done here? He's personifying ocean. He's personifying because ambition is associated with animate objects, with human beings largely, right? But he is personifying ocean by using the adjective ambitious with it. Just make a note, not that you are likely to get whether any poetic devices, literary devices have been used, but it's always interesting to read literature, understanding what the author is trying to do. The playwright, in this case Shakespeare, is trying to do. Swell and rage and foam. So I have seen the ocean swell and rage and foam. Foam means when you have seen this, when you go to the beach, you find all the saline water of the ocean almost like foaming, right? They are swelling, they come up and down, and there is a sense of rage, as though it's very angry as it comes. The waves come as though they want to kind of make a point and show their anger at the people standing on the beach. Isn't that so? So he is kind of again personifying the ocean's behavior like this: to be exalted with the threatening clouds, and they rise to the height of the dark threatening clouds, and the ocean is below. There are these dark threatening clouds. That's the scenery out there. So he's saying that I have seen all this. I have seen. So it's all this, what is happening is not new. But today what's happening is even more than that. I've seen so much, right? But never till tonight. But aaj raat tak nahi. Till tonight, never till now, right now, this moment, did I go through a tempest dropping fire. But I have never seen a storm that drops fire. He's referring to thunderbolts. He's referring to thunderbolts. And I don't know if you are aware of this. There are many times what happens is when lightning strikes, when there's a thunderbolt and lightning which strikes, it strikes a tree, right? It can burn the tree down, right? So it is like, fire from the heavens, right? So I have never seen storms, tempest, fierce storms. Tempest is a fierce storm, okay? Dropping fire. I have never seen that. So I've seen all this, but this is new to me. I hope with the number of times I repeat, it's clear. Okay. Now he's kind of taking it to another level. So he says, either there is a civil strife in heaven. It seems that there is some civil war taking place in heaven. The two sides are at war in heaven. There is total violence and mayhem that is taking place. Please know all these kind of words. It will be useful for you when you're writing even your essays and any kind of answers. New words are always. Mayhem means, total anarchy and total confusion, violence, fights, everything. Okay. So, there used to be a constituency called Mayhem in Haryana. I mean, not used to. There is a constituency called, I'm just telling you on the side, Mayhem. Okay. In Haryana. In the 80s or 90s, I don't recall, there was an election here and there was a lot of election related violence. So I remember the Indian Express at that time had given a headline called Mayhem in Mayhem. Okay, that is called smart work. So either there is a civil strife in heaven, or else the world, too saucy with the gods, incenses them to send destruction. So either there is a civil war between the gods, that is, there is some kind of a war taking place between the gods, or else the world, too disrespectful. Saucy means disrespectful towards the gods. Incenses means provokes them to send destruction. So either the world, that is people on earth, we have been very disrespectful towards the gods, too saucy with the gods, and we have kind of provoked them, gussa dilaya hai, that we have provoked them to send destruction in the form of these thunderbolts. So he's giving two options, that either there is a civil war taking place among the gods, okay, or between two sides of gods, or we have provoked the heavens so much that gods are sending destruction below. I hope this particular passage of Casca is clear. Cicero says, why saw you anything more wonderful. So he says, did you see anything that was more amazing or looked like it came from the gods? Because he's not talking about that something must be happening in heavens, as a result of which we are bearing the consequences. Casca says, a common slave, you know him well by sight, held up his left hand, which did flame and burn like 20 torches joined, and yet his hand, not sensible of fire, remained unscorched. So he says, a common slave, you would recognize him in Rome. Okay, he held up his left hand, which went up in flames, and burnt with the strength of 20 torches, as if 20 torches were burning from his left hand. And yet his left hand did not feel the fire. It was not sensible and not scorched. Okay, 20 torches joined, and yet his hand not sensible of fire. It did not feel the fire. There is no sign that his hand was burning with the strength of 20 torches. It remained unscorched. Okay, the fire not sensible. Okay. Besides, I have not since put up my sword against the Capitol. I met a lion who glared upon me and went surly by. So he's saying, besides, I have not covered, my sword is not covered since seeing this, because I'm terrified of what I have been seeing, the sights that I have been seeing, the sights and sound. So he says, very near the Capitol, which is the main area of the Roman city, of Rome. He says, I saw a lion. A lion walking around in the city is again a strange kind of sight. So it does happen in some towns of Gujarat. From the Gir forest, they kind of come here and there into different towns. You keep seeing these videos coming up on social media. So he says, there was a lion who glared. Stared means glared, ghurna. Okay. And then walked past without harming me, without annoying me. That's again strange. The lion leaving past a human being, a potential target. The lion did not do anything of the sort. And then there were 100 ghastly women. Ghastly means very pale looking women, transformed with their fear. So there were 100 pale looking women. They were drawn upon a heap. That is, they were huddled together upon a heap. 100 ghastly women, transformed with their fear, who swore they saw men all in fire walk up and down the streets. And yesterday the bird of night did sit. So he says that they were all huddled together, who swore that they saw men walking on fire on the streets. Again, a rather unusual and terrifying kind of sight, if men are walking on fire on the streets of Rome. And yesterday, the bird of night is what? The owl, the ullu. So yesterday, the bird of night did sit even at noonday upon the marketplace, hooting and shrieking, which is again very strange, because it's not supposed to be active during the daytime. But even during the daytime, the owl was actually howling and shrieking in the marketplace. Okay. And the owl was always considered a bird of bad omen. That if the owl is shrieking, it's not considered a good omen. And especially if it is howling during the day. At night, one can understand, because ullu raat ko jaga rehta hai. Lekin if daytime it's doing that, it means something bad is going to happen. These were the superstitions associated. And this you find in many of Shakespeare's play, including Macbeth. Now, when all these prodigies do so conjointly meet, that when all these unnatural events, prodigies means unnatural events, happen around the same time, let not men say these are their reasons, they are natural. So let not men say that these are the reasons they are happening because they are natural events. For I believe they are potentious things unto the climate that they point upon. Because I do believe these are not natural events. Because according to me, these are all very unnatural things which are happening. The lion moving, the hand not catching fire, the women seeing men walking on fire, right? Or the owl howling and shrieking during the daytime. So I believe these are ominous, potentious. Potentious means ominous, something which is kind of predicting that something extremely bad is going to happen out here. Things for the country or the region, the climate where they occur, referring to Rome, that something bad is going to happen to Rome. Cicero says, indeed, it is a strange disposed time, but men may construe things after their fashion, clean from the purpose of the things themselves. Come Caesar to the Capitol tomorrow. So he's saying that indeed this is a strange time. Okay, but men may interpret. Costume means interpret. Costume means you wear something, you change the shape or the look of the person, right? So they may interpret. So you understand how Shakespeare uses his words. Costume because you wear a t-shirt, you look like something. You wear a formal shirt, your look may change a little. So the interpretation of your personality has changed. That's why construe is essentially means interpret. Okay, so men may interpret things according to what suits them. I may feel something like this, I may interpret it like that. He may interpret it slightly differently, and it may be quite contrary to the real significance of the real meaning, right? The real thing may be something, but I may interpret it completely different depending on what I want to interpret it and how I see the same situation, right? Clean from the purpose. Clean from the purpose is completely at variance with the purpose of the event. And then he says, is Caesar coming to Capitol tomorrow? Now, you understand from here till here that Casca is clearly disturbed. That's not the case with Cicero. He is seeming very calm and he's asking very matter-of-fact questions. Is Caesar coming to the Capitol tomorrow? So he's asking very matter-of-fact questions, whereas Casca is completely disturbed with what he has seen. And he thinks something extremely bad is going to happen in Rome. And these are all kind of ill omens, which are kind of pointing towards that. So the confluence of supernatural events, that the heavens, civil war in heavens, or they're trying to send a message because they're angry with the people on earth. They kind of, Shakespeare is using all these elements to build up to the significance of Julius Caesar's assassination, which will take place on the 15th of March. Okay, so he's kind of building it up. He's preparing the audience and the reader that something like this is going to happen pretty soon. So he said he is, because he told, he does, he is coming, for he did bid Antonius, that he told Antony about it. He sent word to you, he would be there tomorrow. So he said that he is, because he told Antony to inform you that he would be there at the Capitol tomorrow. Capitol, as I said, is the main part of Rome where all these kind of political and administrative functions take place. Cicero says, good night then, Casca. This disturbed sky is not to walk in. That this troubled sky, disturbed means troubled sky, is not fit to walk in. Let's not move outside. Let's not venture outside because it's definitely looking very troubled. So let's go. So Cicero exits at that point in time. We will pause part 1 of this explanation of scene 3 here. Explanation video number 2 is going to be a little longer because that's also the important part where Cicero exits, but Casca is in conversation with Cassius. And Cassius, as we know, is really kind of working on getting as much of support for his plot to get rid of Julius Caesar. See you now in explanation video number 2. Yahan tak ka samajh mein aa gaya? I hope. Tata, bye bye.